Today, we're diving into something pretty fascinating, a sixth grade math lesson that takes the abstract world of negative numbers and connects it to some of the oldest stories we have. It's a really unique way to teach math.
So, this is the question at the heart of it all, isn't it? It makes you stop and think, what in the world could these figures possibly have to do with a middle school math class? On the surface, they seem like two totally different universes. But as we're about to see, this lesson tries to use them to build a bridge from something real and tangible to something pretty abstract.
And the lesson doesn't exactly hide its approach. This quote comes directly from the lesson's objective. It's framing the whole idea of subtraction inside this larger historical narrative. It definitely sets an unusual stage for what is, when you boil it down, a standard math concept.
Okay, so before we get any deeper into the stories, we've got to get the core math down. To really understand how the stories are supposed to work, we first have to be crystal clear on the rules of subtracting integers.
First up, just a quick refresher. What are integers? Super simple, really. They're just all the whole numbers. You know, the positive ones, the negative ones, and zero right in the middle. The part that usually trips up sixth graders is when you start trying to subtract those negative numbers. That's where it gets tricky. So, here it is, the one rule that this whole lesson is built around. Subtracting a negative number is actually the same thing as adding a positive one. You probably remember this from school, right? 2 minuses make a plus. This is that abstract rule that the stories are meant to make feel a little more intuitive. And this breaks it down perfectly. Let's say you have the problem -3 minus -5. The first thing you do is spot that double negative. Then you apply the rule, which means you get to rewrite the whole problem as -3 plus 5. And from there, it's easy. The answer is +2. It seems simple when you lay it out, but explaining why it works, well, that's the real challenge. Now we get to the most interesting part of this whole lesson. Instead of just making students memorize that rule, it uses these stories as metaphors to try and make the math feel real. Now check this out, because this shows you exactly how the lesson works. It starts with something super concrete, a story you can easily picture. Abraham has some sheep, he gives some away. That's just simple subtraction, 10 minus 6. But then it pivots. It takes that same idea of taking away and applies it to Isaac on a number line, a much more abstract problem. So you can see the pattern, right? The lesson gives 3 different stories. 2 of them are really straightforward, just subtracting positive numbers, like Abraham's sheep or Jesus' baskets of bread. These act like familiar bookends for the really difficult concept in the middle, Isaac subtracting a negative number while on a number line.
Okay, so you've introduced the rule, you've used stories to model it. What's next? Well, practice, of course. This is the part where the lesson shifts to reinforcing the whole concept, asking students to actually apply what they've learned in their homework.
And if you look at the homework here, you can see it's a very intentional mix. You've got some straight-up number line problems, and then you've got another story thrown in there, with Ruth and our coins. The goal seems to be helping students get comfortable moving back and forth between the story model and the pure calculation. And hey, look at question 5. It's the same type of problem we just walked through a minute ago.
So, after all this, what's the big takeaway? What can we learn from this unique teaching method? Well, the lesson itself actually gives us one final clue in the way it wraps everything up. It ends with this verse. The connection here seems to be that core idea of what is left over, which, when you think about it, is the very essence of subtraction. It's one last story to reinforce the mathematical idea. And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? It doesn't really matter which specific stories are being used. It's all about the teaching method. This lesson is built on a really powerful principle, that a good story can make abstract rules feel tangible and real. I mean, a story about sheep or baskets is just way easier for a kid to grab onto than the rule that a negative times a negative is a positive. And that kind of leaves us with this bigger question to chew on. This particular lesson used biblical stories, sure, but it could have just as easily used fables or something from science fiction or history. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How does the story we choose to frame a lesson, whether it's in math or science or anything else, ultimately change what we learn from it?